Hey, good evening, Maria. Back with another video. Yeah, it's evening time. I'm just looking at the clock here on the little side. It's like 6:46 p.m. I didn't realize it was so late. For some reason, I kept thinking it was just like maybe half an hour after work, which is not necessarily the evening. But anyway, so I'm here, and I was debating whether or not I should go pick up a few things at the store, but I've decided to stay in. Now, I'm starting to become like a hermit, seriously. I rarely leave the house. And getting groceries is becoming kind of like, it's just drudgery to me. I really hate doing it. And there has been times where I've taken advantage of, like, the Walmart delivery service. Walmart is weird, I know it is, but they do deliver things, so there's been times I've done that. But I do go to the store, but especially like now, it's really hot, like, and I don't really have proper air conditioning. I need to get my air conditioner fixed in my car. I have a very old car. I think my car's like a 2005 or 2007, either one of those. And I don't pay attention to those sort of things. I'm so completely like detached from like my vehicles and stuff. I've always like, they were just, I don't know. They get me from point A to point B, so I'm not, I don't really think about my vehicle, but I do realize my vehicle is very old. So I know last year I had problems with the air conditioner, so I need to go get it taken care of this year. But I basically go to work, come home, and then on the weekends, there's time where I just want to be by myself and don't want to be bothered with anybody, so I feel like I'm cheating myself if I go somewhere and have to wait in line for a long time, and I think I'm wasting hours where I can spend more time for myself, so anyway, time is precious, so I wanted to come on here and make a video because I'm kind of chatty right now. I'm going through some things in my mind, and I've been kind of taking a notice of how I'm progressing and out of my journey of lifelong depression, of dealing with bullshit that I really could have done without, right? But my feeling on it is still the same. I still feel exactly the same towards the people who initiated all this, okay? But I feel on edge a lot because of dealing with the trauma of workplace harassment year after year after year after year after year, and you always feel that way after something like that. Now, some people don't think much about their jobs, okay, and I know there's a lot of people out there who they don't really take their jobs very seriously, and maybe they don't take their jobs very seriously because they've taken a lot for granted. You know what I mean? But people like myself who have to go through, let's just say, for example, I wasn't trafficked, okay? I would still have to, present myself and try to sell myself and go through a whole lot of bullshit, just to get a job, right? But see, there are some people who are extremely privileged in this world who get jobs, and they don't, and I've seen it myself where they don't really lift a finger, they don't really seem to care, and they tend to get by. I have seen so much injustice in my life that it affects me, but it does make me see things in a realistic way. You know what I mean? So, but what I'm saying is, when someone like me loses a job, it's a big deal because I've always like ended up working for people who put me in jobs, okay, and when they got angry and frustrated with me or whatever, they would make sure that job ended to where I didn't have any money or whatever, so that I'd have to pick up and start all over again. This is one of the biggest issues about being a targeted individual, is the fact that you deal with these periods of poverty because somebody doesn't like what you're doing, so they want to modify your behavior, or they want to punish you for something that they have no right to punish you for. So I've been in this vicious cycle for such a long time that it's changed the way that I see things, but I'm seeing things from a realistic standpoint. It's like it removes all the myths, all the misconceptions, the falsehoods that we are told about people, you know, and I see things on like so realistically, like, you know, I've said it before. I can honestly tell you I'm not a people lover. You know what I mean? And I think I'm a polite person and everything, but I understand that underneath a lot of people is a lot of just pure fucking evil. Okay? Sorry if I'm dropping the F-bomb, but this is my channel, okay? And that's how I feel, you know. I'm very real about it. You know, I can't tell you how many two-faced people I've dealt with in my life. But I think the reason why also I wanted to come on here is because, you know, just the regular updates and my journey through, you know, coming to the realization of me having to be, how can I say this? Trafficked for all these years, and then having to deal with not, you know, basically cutting off ties with people because I can't trust them. Now, some people, like I said, there's some people in this world who don't understand what it's like to go no contact. They think that it's severe, because some people don't understand like what actually is crossing the line, what a person can do to cross a line to where it's so bad that you just want to never see them again, or even talking about them just raises your blood pressure and it makes you consumed with anxiety because you've dealt with traumatizing situations with these people before. Like if somebody, I don't know, this is horrible, okay, but I'm trying to make you understand, like somebody did some sort of injustice to you. A good example would be somebody making your grandmother suffer in somehow, okay, whether they're doing it physically, financially, or whatever. You would have a hard time dealing with that person. Like, what kind of person would do something like this to another human being? Or if somebody hurts your kid or whatever, it's the same thing. And that's how I feel. It's like, you know, somebody would dehumanize you so much that they would try to force you to explain yourself, your lifestyle, your beliefs, and hurt you and punish you and like try to hold something that is rightfully yours against you and make you struggle and make you suffer until you bend to their will. That is like, it's emotional blackmail, really, but you know, it's blackmail, period, you know, according to what the law would say. But it's shocking to me. It's disturbing to me. You know what I mean? And so that's my biggest issue, is when, you know, I'm a loner. And the reason why I am is a lot of it is by choice, because when you're a targeted individual, a lot of people are sent to you by your perpetrators. Okay, they're sent to you by your perpetrators, and they're there for information gathering. Okay, and I started to realize that I was a targeted individual. And if you look at some of my videos, like from the very start, how long has it been since I've been making videos? Since 2015. Okay, I started making videos in 2015. So that's actually 7 years I've been making videos about my issue. And so you'll notice that slowly but surely throughout my videos, it starts to come together. Like I'm piecing it together little by little. And then I came to the realization of who did this. But when I came to the realization that I was a targeted individual, you know, it freaked me out. But I realized, like, you know, I realized that I had been abused, and my life was very similar to like a Truman Show. Like it was being set up. You know, I was around people that they knew and then I didn't know, but I was there to, and then anytime I did something that they didn't like, then it was a form of abuse. If they didn't like my hair, they didn't like, and the thing is that I had the right to pursue my life without them. Like they thought they were insistent upon like making me do their jobs and being around people they wanted me to be. It was like, that's too much control. That's the evil part about human trafficking, is it denies a person their right to their life, their own way of living. You know, and I'm thinking about, like, yeah, this happened so many years and happened for such a long period of time, and nobody likes to live that way. You know, I don't think anybody wants to be like treated that way, or have to, or feel like you have to justify yourself. You know what I mean, to anyone. You know, and I think I never liked that. Even growing up, I never liked it. I mean, I understood it. Sometimes you have to explain yourself. Like, you know, if you stay out late and then your parents are like haggling you and asking you why did you. Realistically, you may not like having to respond to what they have to say, but they have a right to know. Okay, but as an adult, I don't like it, and it has nothing to do with rebellion. It's just the fact that it's demeaning, it's demoralizing, and don't ever fucking tell me what to do. You know what I mean? I think for somebody who's an adult, I think I use my freedom very wisely, you know. But at the same time, it's like, you know, compared to from what I understand from what certain people do within this little network of people, it shocks me because I get persecuted for things that I shouldn't be persecuted for, that anyone really should be persecuted for. And when I think about their lifestyle, it's just shocking to me, you know. And I know that people have held it against me because I had a child out of wedlock. I never looked at it that way. I mean, I knew I wasn't married, but I just never thought that it was such a shame, you know. And I know some people care about their reputations. You know, they think, well, you know, you know, Maria got pregnant. That makes everyone look bad. Our family looked bad anyway. I mean, it's stupid to think that I was damaging someone's reputation. We weren't, how can I say this? How would you describe my family? My family wasn't anybody. They weren't anybody who was like wealthy or people who had like money or people that were like high up there to where they had this reputation where they just couldn't jeopardize it. We were just regular fucking people. You know what I mean? So I just sometimes think that my family just kind of went like a little bit overboard over the whole issue. And as an adult, I mean, I felt as though I took responsibility by me wanting to work, and I was willing to take care of my offspring. I never said, oh, you know, try to drag people into it or anything like that. You know, I think I was trying to be responsible, and I would try to work, and then they would try to like mess my life up. It was just ridiculous. You know, I don't appreciate that. You know, it disturbs me like on a daily basis that somebody would want that much control over my life. You know what I mean? It's sickening. It's like literally like gets me up at night and think, oh my God, somebody would want to tell me how to work. Somebody would want to like arrange my so-called fucking marriages and who I'm friends with. And, you know, some people do have like a form of mental illness to where they do this. They become fascinated with people or obsessed with certain people or whatever. And, you know, I didn't enjoy the fixation. I really fucking hated it. I hated it so bad. Like, you know, I you know, because it made me suffer in areas of my life that were too important. Like, you know, I do like going to work every day. You know what I mean? And I like going to work and functioning in my own way. You know what I mean? I do know that there are some companies that are very rigid. Like, some companies prefer their employees to wear, like, what do you call this? Polos. Everybody wears polos. And for some people who don't mind, you know, holding back certain parts of themselves, they don't care. Some people don't care about clothes. They don't. It doesn't matter to them. But for some people like me, it would kill me to work in an environment where I'm wearing a polo shirt every day and a pair of, like, you know, Dickie pants or something like that. I'm not a uniform person. You know what I mean? I love clothes too much. You know what I mean? And I get angry because they were obsessed or worried about me marrying somebody that they didn't like or whatever. It's like, that is too fucking much. You know? But I was thinking a few days ago, like, I was just kind of chatty a few minutes ago, but, and do forgive me, but I was thinking a few days ago about how much I do resent the whole process of marriage. I resent the fact that I'm so old right now that I can't get away from that dumb conversation. You know, marriage doesn't interest me. It really doesn't, okay? And what bothers me so much is like, the older you get, the more people want to get in your business because they feel like they believe in marriage and they try to force their belief of marriage onto you. You know what I mean? Marriage to me, like I said, to me, it's a business arrangement. Okay. That is for some people like myself. You walk into it and you can end up walking into something terrible. To me, that's just like, that's an opportunity to be extremely abused. Okay. And I understand that, financially, if you're merging your resources with somebody else, then you're a little bit more stable, supposedly. Okay. But I'm not a materialistic person. You know what I mean? And, I moved into a little apartment. I didn't buy any new furniture when I moved in. To me, things should just be colorful and comfortable. You know what I mean? And that's it. I'm not a materialistic person. And I understood from a long time ago, like whatever happened in my life, I'm fully responsible for that. Like when I left my mom's home and moved into my little duplex, like after my son was born, I moved into like a little duplex, like right up the street. And I kept thinking, I need to formulate a plan on what I'm going to do, how I'm going to raise my kid, But I was already thinking about those things anyway. But I tried to figure out, what am I going to do? I need to get on my feet. And I never once thought, that I was ashamed of myself, or that I wasn't good enough, or that I wasn't going to be able to take care of my son. I felt as though I knew that I could. You know what I mean? Man, I also knew that there were, that it was the response, I was being responsible. Now, even though I was very light, I was kind of goofy, and I'm still kind of goofy. I hold back now a lot because I don't really feel like I'm ever in the company of people that I can be comfortable with, because I always feel like everyone's probably a spy for those people or whatever, because I never feel comfortable. I'm always thinking, gosh, they could be like informants, or some bullshit. But, I've always, even though I was goofy, I like to tell a lot of jokes. Maybe even my humor is a little bizarre. But at the same time, I always knew that taking care of being responsible and taking care of another person was, important, And, I can't say that when I was young, I was the greatest parent, and I made a lot of mistakes like anyone else did, But I think my son came out pretty good. And I never felt like it was something I was ashamed of. I never felt ashamed of that. I never felt ashamed that I wasn't married. I never felt ashamed of any of those sort of things. And maybe it's because I have such an open mind or whatever. I don't know. I'm comfortable with who I am. And I guess I've always been. If somebody walks around in their mind and they're comfortable in their mind and they don't see anything wrong with doing something, then they don't feel ashamed of it. I never felt ashamed of that. I just kind of moved on with my life. But whatever. The point is that I took full responsibility. I'm taking full responsibility for my life now. Just like, we live in a world, right? Well, we've always lived in a world where you can easily go broke and you can be homeless, and just like that. Things can be taken from people anytime. You know what I mean? And it's like, I understand it's nice for some people to be in a network. You know what I mean? If you're in a network, then great. Some people have no problems with that. But my problem is that the abuse of having it. What good is a job if you can't function in your own way? What good is a life if you can't have dreams, hopes, and you're never going to have them because somebody else is forcing you to do something else? You know what I mean? That is, that is the worst possible life you could ever have. You know what I mean? And I'm responsible. Let's just put it that way. I'm responsible for my own life. Come what may, and I understand that. Some people have told me, like when I was younger, and they knew that I was raising my kid all by myself. They were like, "God, you're brave." To me, it's like, this is what you just have to do. You just have to do it. It's just that simple. You know what I mean? Maybe I am brave, or maybe my mental strength is so intense that I don't think about the little things that other people think about. People do trip on my mind power, like how if I'm determined, if I think something, if I believe in something, just like these people, these my perpetrators, my gang stalkers, the people who initiated the bullying. They were doing everything they possibly could. The emotional abuse and the financial abuse that I was going through, losing jobs, having to be forced to move in with my son. They don't mind imposing bullshit on people. Like my son, that's sad that he had to be with his mother, and I'm very grateful that he was kind enough to take me in. Okay, I'm very grateful for that. But I understand he is a young man that should explore whenever the fuck he wants to, when he wants to meet. I believe in living your life to the fullest, and it was like, well, I didn't have anywhere to go, so I had to move in with my son, right? And I felt like, and I'm very grateful, like I said, very grateful that he took me in. But I was impoverished. Like I could not find a job because these people wouldn't let me. That's disturbing. You know what I mean? Like, you either do what we want you to do or whatever. They wouldn't even let me work at like a fast food place. Okay? So everything that these people were doing was basically telling me to go kill myself. And I remember somebody, a lady, I didn't even know who she was. I was babysitting back, this happened like about 3 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, maybe. Okay, I was babysitting for this lady, and I only babysat for her one time. Okay, but we went up the street. The little kid that I was babysitting, we went up the street and we were playing with some other people's kids, right? And I figured this is good because he's intermingling with them, and he doesn't have to be with this old lady all day, right? So I was sitting here like watching him play, and so the grandmother of that other child came up, and she was talking to me, and she was basically saying that, yeah, you know what? She didn't say who it was, but she goes, yeah, they basically want you to kill yourself. And I confirmed it because I was walking around thinking that all these years. Like, when I first realized I was a target, and whoever these people are, they want me to kill myself. And I know that there are people who, this is one of the reasons why people do target other people. Because when somebody does this to you, they're not hoping and wishing for something good for you. If they're taking your responsibility, your not responsibilities, but your opportunities, your working opportunities away from you, and making you dependent on them, that is not a good thing. It's never a good thing. And I will tell you, it's taken its toll on me, knowing that so much of my life has been sucked up from these people. You know what I mean? And I think about, I could have had a better life. And some people think, well, Maria, you didn't have much, you didn't have a bachelor's degree, you didn't have anything. But I had audacity. You know what I mean? I was always a sharp person. You know what I mean? And I was willing to express myself. I'm bold. Like I said, I have a mind that penetrates through things that other people they just feel blocked by. I can do what I want. I can think what I want, and I can be very assertive. You know what I mean? So I personally think that I would have made it. I do. I think I would have made it. I would have found the right people. Meaning, when I mean the right people, I would have been able to act out some of the thoughts and the inventions and the things that I wanted to do had I found the right people. You know what I mean? And instead of being trafficked. And I get angry about those sort of things. And the sad part is, like, well, people are like, well, you can pick up your dreams now. Here's the issue. I don't know. I personally think these people had me trafficked so bad. I sometimes wonder what it's like to even try anything anymore, because they fucking shut so much shit down for me, with their bullshit, and which I hate. I hate those fucking people. Every day of my life, I think that, and to people who've never had to deal with like extreme bullying or whatever, and they just believe in the forgive and forget and they move on, it's difficult for them to understand why somebody would want to cut ties with someone, But I will tell you, like, child molesters and stuff like that are always going to be child molesters. You know what I mean? Even if they get out of prison or whatever, they may not be acting on it, but just know that if you were to forgive them, they're still looking at your kid like, like there's something like a sex object. That's disturbing, right? So they're just not acting on it. They are what they are, and it's the same sort of situation, with somebody who's extremely abusive or somebody who's extremely competitive and jealous of you. That's not just going to wash away. It's a serious problem. It's a serious problem if somebody makes this a community issue. Actually puts a process in place to fuck your life over, to basically make you, somebody who's reliant on them. That's bad. That's an indication that this person has some sort of mental issue. It's extreme. But anyway. So yeah, but I am kind of chatty today. I wanted to come on here and just talk about my feelings and stuff like that, and go on and kind of let you know what I've been up to. Same thing though. I come home every day and I think, what am I going to do when I get home? And I find myself still working a little bit. It's kind of weird. I'm just one of those people. But then there's times where I do I do some fun stuff. I do bring out my arts and crafts and stuff like that. And yes, I plan on doing some sewing. I did get like 2 outfits. I know my perps hate me for it, but I got 2 jumpers and I need to kind of hem the legs because they're always too long for short people like myself. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Just the little things around the house. Oh, I picked up some more needlepoint, and appliques. I'm an old woman in a lot of ways, but I'm also very young at heart too. You know what I mean? When I mean old woman, it's like, doing things like sewing. I love hand sewing. I think it's relaxing. Now, I'm not like a great person who can do like embroidery work or anything like that, but, I do like hand stitching applique on little things. Like I got those little embroidery loops, and then I got some fabric, and then I cut off a picture of a bird on a tree. I like birds and stuff. I love birds. And so I'm kind of doing some sewing around that. If people think I'm an artistic person, people want to argue about it, I'm at a point in my life where I don't really care what people think about me. It is, and that's that mind power. I can basically, I don't give a crap. If I gave a crap, I would have conformed already. I would have been like, oh, please like me. And people they're doing anything to be liked. They'll sacrifice themselves to be liked by people who don't care about them at all. They fall into that trap so much. I'm not one of those people. And I figured, you know what? If my life is going to have to be the way that you wanted it to be, I'm better off fucking dead. You know what I mean? So yeah, I do understand how some people are forced into suicide. I fully understand that. There was this recently. There was I forgot her name, but she was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful black woman. I think she was like a Miss America or something. I don't know. She had one of those like crowns and whatever. She was very gorgeous, but she ended up committing suicide. And I don't know what was going on in the background, but somehow in the back of my mind, I kept thinking somebody was probably bullying her behind the scenes, because the way that she just ended it all was very mysterious, you know what I mean? And so a lot of people don't realize the kind of stuff that goes on that forces people into these situations. And I do personally think, in my mind, my first hunch is, and I can't substantiate this, but my first hunch is about this woman that somebody was blackmailing her, somebody blackballing her, somebody forced her in a situation that was so fucking unbearable that this is what she had to do. And of course, people on the outside may not have realized what was going on. You know what I mean? Because people really don't. They just think maybe there was a suitor that was trying to date her, or pretending he was dating her, manipulating things behind the strings or scenes or whatever. Something happened to this woman. You know what I mean? Anytime, I think it's very strange that somebody who had all of the things that she had, you know what I mean, would do that to herself. You know what I mean? And the reason why she would do something like that to her health is probably because somebody was making her life a living hell. You know what I mean? And I will tell you, these people who did this to me were making my life a living hell. Every fucking goddamn day. For decades. For decades. You know? And so once you realize that people like that are never going to be cured, And they're always going to sit there and say things like, oh, I'm sorry, only so they can bring you back in to their weird web of bullshit. It becomes easy to walk away. And sometimes you have to, you know. But anyway, I think I've said enough. You know, I'm getting a little tired, and I just want to get my pajamas and, you know, do a little light reading and then just kind of head to bed. But, you know, sometimes you just have to talk things out and say something, you know. And it's not that I don't want to have friends. I do. But I don't like double agents either. You know what I mean? And I know, like, when you're a targeted individual, you deal with that, a lot of that. You know what I mean? And it's very triggering sometimes, and it's very traumatizing, you know, because when you have, like, dual friendships, what I mean by that, like, you might meet your neighbor, right? And you don't know that your neighbor, well, I usually pick up on it after a while anyway, but, you know, your neighbor knows your perps, right? And then they pretend to be your friend just so they can, like, you know, look at your house and then go tell people how weird your house looks or whatever, you know. But still, it's like, you can't trust people, you know. It gets to the point where you just feel like, you know, it is what it is. And you can be polite, and you can even, you know, like that person to a certain degree, but that trust level is never fully there for that reason. And they don't understand. Maybe the perpetrators keep it hidden how, and their motives why they do the things that they do. But people blindly participate in things like trafficking and stuff like that anyway, you know. But they don't realize, they might, and if they do realize what my perps were, and they still continue to participate, you got to wonder what kind of people these people are, you know. You know, and so I deal with trauma on a daily basis, you know, and I think I'm doing okay. I can't say that it's always great. I can't say that I'm 100% cured. I doubt I will ever be cured, you know. I've known people who've recommended, like, the whole, like, counseling shit. I wouldn't trust a goddamn person anymore. You know what I mean? And I really am tired of dealing with most so-called professionals who claim to be so, like, you know, good at their jobs and their profession, and, you know, I never seem to be impressed with them, you know. So I'm not really impressed with the medical industry, period. You know, regardless of the so-called strides they make, you know, these people seem to be more broken than they've ever been, you know. I don't believe in that stuff, but so I just try to talk myself through it. You know what I mean? And I think for me, realism, what I mean by realism is, like, stop sugarcoating human behavior. See people for what they really are. And I look at people like they're fucking murderers. Like, most people are kind of like that. They've got a lot of anger, pent up anger, and they were happy to participate in, you know, hate crimes. And I think very lowly of people. I can't, it doesn't come natural for me to think that, you know, that people are warm and kind. You know what I mean? I'm a realist. You know. Anyway, I think I've said enough. I'm going to get up this video, and I have been working on, we're doing more structured videos. At least I was last year, and I'm picking it back up. I have, you know, made some scheduling plans for me to finish and actually start my channel. My channel is up on YouTube, my other YouTube channel. It's on YouTube. I have it established. I just need to add videos. And the first paranormal introduction video that I made, I started working last year on it in October. It should have been done like in 2 days, okay? But I dealt with so much, the trauma, the feeling, being able to just sit in a space for like hours and hours and hours and hours and not be able to move or do anything. I had debilitating depression for a very long time. And I'm pulling myself out of it little by little. Still depressed though. But I do want to make that video, get back into my interest in talking about the paranormal, talk about experiences in the paranormal, teach people about the paranormal, show people skills in the paranormal. Kind of like, this is what I'm like, really, I find that interesting. Plus, there's a bunch of other interesting things that I'm picking back up again. And I'm redirecting my life, and I want to be, I don't know, I just want to pursue things that I've been thinking about for a very long time that were denied me for so many years. You know what I mean? And that's what I want to do with my life, you know. And my YouTube channel is important, you know what I mean? Because the paranormal is huge in my life. This is what I live off of. It's me. You know what I mean? And people who are trying to convert me to their religion, I understand your point. I get it, you know, but, you know, from a legal standpoint, you know, it is what it is. I have the right to. And even from a biblical standpoint. And if at Judgment Day I'm deemed evil, then I guess that's what it is. You know what I mean? But I highly doubt I would be deemed evil, considering I've never done anything to harm anyone, on, you know, as a fully conscious and aware adult. Okay, now I've done a lot of stupid things when I was younger, I will tell you that, but as you get older and you realize something's wrong, I've done everything I could to stop the behavior, the cycle of doing bad things and trying to build myself. And I think I have built a pretty good character, and I'm very content that way. I don't want to live my life with this feeling like I'm hurting people or I'm doing something to people. I've never been somebody who wanted to lash out at other people anyway, but, you know, I don't ever want to do anything senseless. I would never do what my perpetrators did to me, to anyone. I couldn't even imagine it. I couldn't. You know what I mean? It was purely evil, you know? So, anyway. Gonna wrap up this video. I hope everyone has a good evening, and I will be coming back with another video. Something else is on my mind really quick. I do want to talk about something before I wrap up this video. I wanted to talk a little bit more about female jealousy, and I did talk about this in like one of my videos I made like last week or something. You know, I don't think of myself as better than anyone. I choose to live the best life I possibly can. You know what I mean? I get upset because my life, as basic and simple as it is, it's the only life I want to live. I know people would look at it and they would be like, I can't believe that you're so happy living in an apartment, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? I'm content. I really don't think about material things. I don't. You know what I mean? And they're nice. Sometimes they're nice to have and everything, but whatever. But I know that my perps were competitive and jealous of me. And I personally think that's funny because, like I said, I'm aware of my flaws. You know? But, and I know that women get very competitive and jealous and they bully. And I know, like in the workplace, you know, from people who are watching and witnessing jealous women, sometimes instead, and I've dealt with this in my past and I've experienced it and I've acknowledged it with other people, that sometimes management actually encourages the bullying of people, and I think it's because not so much just management, but a lot of people bully people who take care of themselves. Like I remember there was this one person, she was talking about how she's a vegetarian. I am not a vegetarian. I have no desire to be a vegetarian, but I will say that because she made that statement, people were rolling their eyes at her like, and all this other stuff, and they kind of like snubbed her and then started talking about how their diet is so much more superior than what she eats and blah 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 blah, blah all the way down the line. And really what it is that they are dealing with their own jealousy, because I will say that it takes a lot of mental strength a lot of willpower, because for someone like me, I can't imagine not eating like chicken or turkey. I can't imagine not eating those things. You know what I mean? Because to me that's food. I like meat, and for people who find it hard to to reject like ice cream, cookies, cake, they have an addiction to it. They get upset because they want to lash out on people who don't care about those things. You know what I mean? Because they choose to eat better, make better choices. You know what I mean? And so they get a little bit jealous. In this case, it can lead to outright bullying. And so their solution is, well, I wouldn't bully you if you just stopped doing what you're doing. And that's absurd. You're basically telling somebody to give up their life so that you can, that you can have something that they don't, or that you can, or maybe you're trying to bring them down to your level. I get upset with that because number one is bullying. It's obviously a form of sexual harassment to say that you take care about your body only because of the opposite sex. You know what I mean? I do believe that people should eat well. Okay, for several reasons. Okay, whether you're trying to get a mate or not, I gravitate towards people who make better choices in that way. Okay, that's not to say I'm putting people down because they do eat ice cream and stuff like that. I have sweet treats every once in a blue moon, like on holidays and stuff like that. I will have them. Okay, but the problem with people who struggle with obesity or being overweight is they center a lot of their activities around food. Okay, like every single time. Like I remember when I was younger, like I had this friend and we'd go walk and get donuts after work. Okay, and then we'd have to cross like this desert because I lived in the Yellow Valley. We'd cross a desert. When we get across the desert, we'd hit this like Foster Freeze or something, and then we'd eat Foster Freeze, and it was like a continuous cycle. Everything revolved around food, and in my life, everything doesn't revolve around food. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like food, and I like things like having dinner every once in a while. Sometimes I'll have dinner, sometimes I don't. But I notice that people get jealous. Okay, like not people. I've never really experienced jealousy from other people, other than my perps and the perps that put this on other people to bully me. Okay, because people do that because they feel like I'll be a part of the bullying, whatever. You don't have the right to bully people out of their life. And this is what I enjoy. Now, I don't say that I don't always wear makeup. You know what I mean? I don't always wear it. Like there's times where I do not like wearing it. Depends on what I'm wearing. You know what I mean? But when I go to work, or if I was a religious person, which I'm not, thank goodness, but if I was one and I went to church, I would dress up nice for church. Okay? There's certain things that I feel are called for wearing your best clothes. Okay? Going to work, to me, I wear my best clothes. That's me. You know what I mean? That's what I choose to do. And it's not about competition, because I'm not sitting here like trying to think, well, I think my outfit's cuter than so-and-so. I don't do that, okay? It's more just me and the way that it makes me feel. I love clothes, okay? You want to be around people. I choose to be around people. I want to be around my tribe. And what I mean by my tribe is I want to be around people who want to live better. Instead of living, and then persecuting other people because they have things that are better off than me. You know what I mean? And that's just basically the way it is. That's the nicest way of saying it. There's a lot of people who have better houses than I do. They have better cars than I do. They have better furniture than I do. What I mean by that is it's like, nice, expensive furniture. But I don't sit here and think about how I'm going to make them lose it. I don't sit here and try to like compete with them. I don't care. I don't compete with anybody. I'm just thankful that I have what I have. You know, I'm grateful for the things I have. You know, even though it's not much. Like I have a couch that I've had I literally got it at a secondhand store. Could I go buy a new one? Probably. I could go out and get another one, but I'm not. I just threw a cover on it, threw some cute little pillows on it. I'm calling it good. I don't need to have a bunch of stuff. You know what I mean? But anyway, back to the bullying thing. Yeah, it does bother me. Okay? I care about clothes. I care about those things, and they try to detach you from the things that you care about for their own sake. And this is how jealousy works. You know, it works in that way, you know. And then I know in the workplace in the past when I was growing up, or not so much when I was growing up, in my 20s, 30s, whatever, I'd work for companies where there might be somebody who's nice looking, especially girls. Now, I'm not what you call bone thin, okay, but there are women who are very, very thin women, okay? The minute she walks in the room, you know, there's always that one woman who's kind of like rolling her eyes, and then she can't stand it, and she wants to go and talk to somebody else, and they start talking about this other person. This girl didn't do anything to her, okay? But it bothers her that this woman can fit into a size 3 pair of pants or whatever it is, and she can't. And so she wants to take it out on her and then bring all her groupies to bully up on that person. You know what I mean? I remember back when I was younger, people who were overweight were the ones who were being bullied. Now, I'm not saying that was right. I'm just saying is we have shifted into a world that I have a very hard time dealing with sometimes. You know what I mean? Because people have normalized obesity. They have normalized it. You know, and I am not somebody who thinks it's not for me. Let's just put it that way. Okay? And I'm not putting people down. I understand it's very difficult for people to have any sort of knowledge about nutrition because there's so much bad information out there. It contradicts itself every single year. I've seen it come out from like news reports, articles, whatever. You know, just like a good example is how they vilify like the egg, the common egg, okay? First, 1 year, it's bad. The Atkins diet comes out, oh, but eggs aren't bad at all. They're, you know, and they'll change their story, and people are confused. They don't know what to put in their fucking mouth. They're so confused, and it's because mainstream society lets them be confused. They benefit from people being confused and being in the dark, you know, about those sort of things. But anyway, I'm going to stand up for myself. You know what I mean? And I'm going to stand up for what matters to me. My simple little life that these people make fun of, my felt arts and crafts, my spiritual views, and all these other things, there are what makes me me. You know, this is who I am. You know, do I care about nice clothes? Well, you know, there's people who have nicer clothes than me. When you talk about clothes, nice clothes, I'm thinking, okay, people who have like designer clothes. I haven't had anything designer in a long time. You know what I mean? And I've never been able to afford constant designer clothes. You know what I mean? I just try to, you know, I see things that I like now and I just buy it if I like it and I wear it. You know what I mean? It makes me feel cheerful or whatever. I like it, you know. But anyway, I'm rambling on right now because I'm tired and this video is not even making sense at this point. But I guess I was just expressing my frustration of somebody who was basically trying to destroy my life, you know, and basically did a good job destroying it for a good part of my life. You know what I mean? And, you know, I'm going to tell you right now and make this a very public video. There is no one in my life that I want to see again. There is no one. Okay? I literally have to fear for my life on a daily basis because from what I dealt with, and I feel like I couldn't trust anybody. If somebody actually would be a part of something like that, and considering who these people are and what they do, and they don't see anything wrong with it, I mean, all I can do is think that fucking people are evil. you know. And I don't think I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong on that one. Anyway, I'm going to wrap up this video. I'm going to go take a shower, and I'm going to head to bed. So I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Take care.